What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and it is official. Late last night, Congress unveiled the new bill for $1.2 trillion in spending for infrastructure, and now they're going to be turning their attention to $3.5 trillion for the largest stimulus package that we have seen yet. This is your stimulus check update and your stimulus package update. Now take a look. This morning we're seeing articles roll out like this. Senators unveiled the full text of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and that's that first portion. And we're going to be taking a look at an interview that came out yesterday from Senator Joe Manchin as he discusses the path forward and what's going to be happening this week. As we're hearing, they want that first portion for roads, bridges, highways, traditional infrastructure to be done by Thursday, you guys. That's right. Now he's going to lay out the timeline, and also we're hearing that now members of Congress, senators, they're going to be turning their attention this week toward $3.5 trillion in human infrastructure, the second portion of the infrastructure bill, which is going to be providing money provisions for people. Essentially, it is another stimulus package, you guys. They're just calling it by a different name. Now, I'm going to get you all the details in today's videos and today's articles as of August 2nd, 2021. As we're hearing, they're making a lot of progress, and this is all going down this week. So we're going to dive right in, get you caught up on the latest. But before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you like and appreciate these updates, take a second to just smash that like button. I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel a ton. Also, if you think this is going to help out other people, be sure to share and leave your comments down below. I love hearing your thoughts on everything that's happening. And if this is your first time here, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, come join the RAM fam, the viewing community. I'll keep you up to date on everything happening with stimulus, Congress, the economy, unemployment, anything having to do with money. And if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. That's by far the best way to get a hold of me if you got any questions. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in, and I'm going to get you caught up on the latest as to what's happening this week with infrastructure and more stimulus. All right, you guys, so we're going to be taking a look at Senator Joe Manchin's Face the Nation interview, where he gives some details about the path forward here in just a second. But first, I want to dive into this article, and we're going to be reading some more details about what happened with this first portion of the bill and the path forward. Link in the description below if you'd like to follow along with me, and so that way you can see my sources are cited and I'm not just making stuff up. Now, the article says, came out today, senators unveiled the full text of the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And it says, senators on Sunday, they unveiled the legislative text of the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill during a rare weekend session. And we heard they worked throughout the weekend to get this done as lawmakers rush to begin the amendment process ahead of an expected vote on the final passage by the end of the week. Now, the bipartisan group of senators that negotiated the deal released the legislative language of the bill on Sunday, totaling 2,702 pages, a massive bill. The legislation would authorize more than $500 billion in new spending to bolster the country's roads, bridges, and other physical infrastructure. Now, Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine said Sunday on the Senate floor that the legislation would be the most significant investment in our infrastructure since the construction of the interstate highway system. Wow. Now, given how bipartisan the bill is and how much work has already been put in to get the details right, I believe that the Senate can quickly process relevant amendments and pass this bill in just a matter of days, said Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Now, Senator Schumer said on Sunday, yesterday, that he expects the Senate will vote for final passage of the bill in a matter of days. And we're going to be hearing in this interview, Senator Joe Manchin, he thinks it's going to be this Thursday. Now, after the consideration, that is, of all the relevant amendments, senators, they must first vote to replace the current text with the language from the version that was released last night before moving on to the amendment process. Now, the bipartisan legislation is the first part of a two-track strategy, as we mentioned, pushed by the White House and Democratic leaders to enact the key pillars of Mr. Biden's economic agenda. Once the plan clears the Senate, Schumer said that he will immediately move to phase 2, a broader $3.5 trillion in spending proposed that encompasses the president's policies on childcare, healthcare, education, and the environment. And as we mentioned, that is the next stimulus package, providing human infrastructure, which is going to be money going directly towards people. Now, that measure will move through Congress under a procedure known as budget reconciliation, which enables it to pass the Senate with a simple majority vote and only Democratic support. And you guys, that is why we're hearing that we need to get all of the Democrats in the Senate, all 50 of them, to agree on something. And we have moderate Democrats like Senator Joe Manchin, who we'll be hearing from in just a second, who's saying that 3.5 is too much spending, that we need to bring that down. But then we have progressives like Bernie Sanders saying we need more money. We need to go higher and provide more stimulus to people throughout this time of crisis. So we got to see if they can agree on an overall price tag. So you guys, that just happened late last night. We have the official text, the bill, 2,702 pages of infrastructure bill. Now, in addition to that, like we said, we heard from Senator Joe Manchin. We've got some video footage. He's going to give us a little bit of an update of the process. Let's go ahead and take a look.
The Senate is reconvening this afternoon to resume consideration of a roughly $1 trillion infrastructure bill. One of the Democrats leading the bipartisan negotiations is Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, John. Good to be with you in person, especially.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to have you with us. So this isn't just an infrastructure bill. The President of the United States said this signals to the world that our democracy can function. So it's got a lot on its shoulders here.
Sure does.
And it's not done yet. What is the next set of steps for this to become law?
John, it's 99 and 9/10 finished. They're drafting it. The text will be done. Hopefully we'll introduce it today. We'll vote on it tonight. We'll start amendment process hopefully on Monday. If not, but we want to be done by Thursday. We want to move on, okay?
But it's not just the Senate that speaks. The House has also has a role.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying it moves on from the Senate.
Right.
That's
but
all.
For it to become law, it's linked up with this other piece of legislation, the budget bill. Do you not see that it's linked together?
I've always believed that everything should rise or fall on its own merits. When you just said something, the President of the United States tells the whole world, this is the President's bill. This is all of our bill. It's a Democrat. It's every Republican's bill. There's not an infrastructure need in the country that has an R or D name on it. And that's what brings us together, 80% popularity. So yeah, we should be doing it.
But the president also has other ideas about the country and in fact says they're vital after this pandemic. Sure. And those are all contained in this other budget bill.
Right.
So that's vital to him too.
Understand.
And Nancy Pelosi has said only until the Senate passes that other budget bill will we let this infrastructure. So that's a roadblock, it seems.
I would never, ever try to advise Speaker Pelosi on how she runs the House. I think she does a marvelous job, and she'll do what she thinks is best for the House. But the bottom line is, we've got a bill that 80% of the public, we have a bill that mostly every Democrat and every Republican should be supporting, but the infrastructure bill, so we'll see. It should go fall or rise on its own. I really have said that.
But what you're saying is the House should pass their infrastructure, and then you go through the process, you meld it, and the president votes on it. Yeah. They shouldn't hold it up.
I would not think that would be the best thing to do for the public right now. We're trying to show the whole world that we can operate. We're trying to show the country that we're back and we can do things in a bipartisan way. This is one of the big things. We don't expect to do the next bill bipartisan. That's reconciliation. Right. That's strictly party line vote. And I said we will go on budget resolution. Let's look at the whole bill. But don't forget, we've got inflation. We've got a $28.6 billion debt. We have $4 billion a day growing in debt. All this should be considered before we just jump in.
Well, before we get to that budget bill, you mentioned a test of democracy. The first test is whether Republicans and Democrats can work together.
Sure.
It seems like the second test of democracy is this three-legged race you're in with House liberals, which is, can Democrats agree that this other budget bill is not linked to infrastructure, or can Joe Manchin sign on to a budget reconciliation that Bernie Sanders also agrees with?
Well, it's all about compromise. That's what this has been a compromise. We've been working on this for 6 weeks. And we finally come down to the last day or the last hour to get it finished. It takes compromise. You have to trust each other. You have to work. I respect my colleagues who believe something a lot different than I do, and I'm willing to listen and learn. And if we can find that compromise, we'll find it.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, leader of one of the leaders of the progressive movement in the House, has said she's got 10 progressives who will block infrastructure unless you over in the Senate pass this budget bill.
Well, you know, sometimes maybe you'll have 15 or 20 Republicans that would see a good bill. Maybe there might be 100 Republicans in the House that says, my God, I like this. Guess what? It takes care of my transportation. It's the greatest jobs bill we've ever had. It runs for 5 to 10 years. It gives you total growth each year to try to stimulate the economy. So, you know what? everybody had that was the Hastert. Remember the Hastert rule?
Sure.
You had to
Only
have,
Republicans could vote
That's
by a
crazy.
majority.
I'd take a win whenever I can get it.
Yeah. Well, now you're advising Nancy Pelosi.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Never do that.
Let me ask you about this budget bill. It has inside of it a lot of the president's priorities. It's clocked in at about $3.5 trillion. You've expressed some concerns about that cost. Is it the cost or is it paying for it that you...
Well, they're saying it's all paid for. Now, if it's all paid for, you look at it at a different light. Okay, there's a lot of great things in there. I've seen that some of the things that need to be done and we all want to be done. But you get to the point like you do in your own private life, what can you afford to pay for? So if I never voted for the 2017 tax cuts, okay? I explained to Senator Schumer and everything. We've had good conversation. He's been great about trying to move this infrastructure, the traditional infrastructure right now. He really has been pushing this. So let's get a bill done. Now, on the other bill, I've said, let's look and see. You're going to make adjustments to the tax code. Are we still going to be competitive? Can we compete in a global market?
In other words, do taxes raise so high on business that they end up going to other countries?
That's exactly. And basically, we have a downturn in the economy and inflation skyrockets. We have problems. You have to be careful about all that.
Well, there you have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as we saw him getting hit with the questions that everybody was wondering. What about tying this to the reconciliation bill? And he said he doesn't think that they should do that. He said he thinks it should stand on its own. But as you know, we heard from Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi that they're not passing anything in the House until they have both of them ready to present and both are passed in the Senate. So letting Senator Joe Manchin know that that bipartisan deal, it's not going anywhere until you also have the stimulus package ready as well. And we did hear from AOC, who said that they've got 10 Democrats in the House ready to block infrastructure if they try to present it without the stimulus package. And we saw his rebuttal, which was, well, sometimes we'll get Republicans that will support things. And we also heard them say that they're going to try to get this done by Thursday, he said, the first portion of the infrastructure bill, so that way they can focus on reconciliation and try to get these through. And we'll see if they can come to a compromise. We heard them say, can we see a package, a deal, where it has both Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Bernie Sanders agreeing upon it? And he said it's all about compromise. So we're going to see what they come up with, and I'll be sure to let you guys know here on the channel. But it looks like progress is being made. The official text for the first portion of the infrastructure bill has been released. As details come out, I'll be sure to share with you guys here on the channel. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much as always for joining me here on the channel. I'll keep you up to date, and if you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button. Just takes a second, really helps me out a ton. And if this is your first time here, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, come join the viewing community, the Ram fam, we like to call it, and I'll keep you up to date on all this stuff. And if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. And with that being said, you guys, hope this reaches you well. Remember, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, guaranteed uploads and also random videos throughout the day as news breaks. But with that being said, like I mentioned, hope this reaches you well. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.